as we continue along the journey to be able to facilitate the incredible dialogue between the upper and the lower world as we draw them closer together and sew them together. The goal of the Or itself is to sew the universe back together, which became separate. So therefore, the idea that was given to me over a number of years was that the world itself, the way it was in one unified, coherent whole, and then separated itself from itself, and which created what's called incoherent light. And the way to bring it back into normalcy is to fuse it back together. That's why the word fusion, which is a common word, so in Hebrew, if you look at it carefully and you turn it into phonetics, it's Pei Vav Shin Yud Nun. So Pei Vav is 86, which is Elohim, and Shin, of course, is the letter Shin, which is numerical value 360 here, as spelled out, which represents a magnetic field or a circle. So the Lubavitch Rebbe wrote, when I was at the university in Yerushalayim, Technion there, the head professor in physics, so he showed me inside of one of the sperm of the Rebbe that he wrote that the horse was going to bring the redemption of the world. Now, whether he knew why or he was just quoting, but if you look at the complex way a horse is written out, it's two circles and a straight line, two outer circles and one center circle. Now, the numerical relationship between each one of the elements is 60, which is the first Samekh, Vav, which is a 6, and 60 again. So in an idea of movement, or an equation, so if you wanted to multiply and to increase the system, so you would multiply the outer dimensionality, which is 60, times the middle dimensionality, which is 6, which will create the movement of 360, which is a complete circle. And since you have the same element on the other side, you do the same thing and you have 360. Now, what's interesting about this is if you take 360 and you turn it into letters, it comes out to a Shin Yud Nun, on either side, which is 360 on either side. So if you take the two circles, which are outer dimensionality, and you turn them and make them vertical, so you have one circle on top of another circle, or a sphere, if you may, with a center point above the 6. So this is the actual pictures of what we do in physics to create the picture of a nuclear reaction. So now if you take the letter Shin Yud Nun and turn it into a letter, well, it spells out Shin. So you have two Shins on either side. Now, what's very interesting about that is that we talk about Mashiach ben Yosef. Now, what was the bracha that Yosef got? Is that he would gore the nations with his wisdom, meaning that he would understand science, he would understand everything, and the brilliance of his understanding would show that it's one unified whole, that the Torah and science is not a separate entity, it just appears separate, which part of the Chet itself is to feel as if one has a sense of self, and science surely gives one an independent reality as if it's so. So you can see that very clearly. So if you take the word Yosef, Yud, Vav, Samech, Pei, Sofit, and you look at it and analyze it, you'll see Yud, Vav, Samech has a relationship to what? To the horse, which is Samech, Vav, Samech. So here, if you multiply the Yud times the Vav, it comes out to a Samech. So you see inside of Yosef's name, you have the horse, or the technology of redemption itself. Now, if you add the letters and look at the way the construction of Yosef's name, so it's Yud, Vav, Samech, Pei, Sofit. So if you add up the letters in this particular way, Yud, which is 10, Vav, which is 6, right? Which is 16, plus Samech is what? 76. And you add the letters together, it comes out to the final letter, which is Pei, the resultant, which represents Malchut. So if you read Yosef's name, what is Yosef going to do at his end of his life? Because the letters add up to the finality of an 80, which is the Malchut. So you see inside of his name itself, he has the horse, which is the technology for fusion, a nuclear reactor. Now, what's most interesting to me right now is that if you look at the chart, like we look at a periodic chart, a chemical chart, one next to another, chemicals. But if you look here at the names, Yosef is next to Benjamin. Now, why is that? If you look at Benjamin's name, look at his name, everybody, is Beis. Right? You see the Beis? So the Beis represents the connection between heaven and earth. Between heaven and earth, right? Through the Vav, he's connecting heaven and earth. And then you have the letters on either side. You have a Yud Nun, and you have a Yud Nun, and in the middle you have a Mem. So Yud Nun is a Samach, right? 10 plus 50 is a Samach. And then you have the same thing on the other side of the Mem. So if you create Samach, which is Shin, we reduced it to the letter Shin, 360 is Shin Yud Nun, and then it becomes Shin, right? So you have Shin Mem Shin, which is Shemesh. So Benjamin is the fuel. Where's the fuel of a nuclear reactor? It's inside of the sun. So that's an amazing, amazing concept to understand how Kadosh Baruch Hu had Yosef and Benjamin together create the technology for a fusion reaction, which is the goal and the way to facilitate the union of heaven and earth, because that's how it separated itself from itself, which would be the opposite of fusion, when the universe separated. But utilizing the technology inside of the Torah itself to create the energy and the thing that we control the economy of the world. And this is really the goal that the Jews were really given in the end of days, to be able to control the economy of the world. And Mitzvah Hashem, according to the Pesukim and things, it would be energy. It would be the energy of the world. It's an obvious thing that it seemed to be what the Shmuel got the bracha to manipulate Esav through the Shemin. And now at the end of days, it says that the bracha of these things will go back to the Jewish people. And Mitzvah Hashem, it's been the work of our organization to create this incredible idea, but specifically through Torah, and allow the world at large to realize that the way back is to sew the universe back together. So Mitzvah Hashem, we're on this journey together, and with God's help, we'll bring all things good in the world. Amen.